Minutes after Aban Elias's terrifying videotape was broadcast in the United States, friends and journalists started calling the Elias family in Denver.
Aban Elias's brother and mother met reporters this morning, having just learned that he's the latest Iraqi captive.
Calling upon all the Islamic organization to free him. He's a Muslim. It's just insane to just have him captured like this. I don't know what kind of
Elected officials such as Senator Wayne Allard and Congresswoman Diana DeGette rushed to support the Elias family.
They have assured me that they are working to secure his release and getting all the information that they can.
She came to my house right after the abduction, and she said, "Oh, we'll help you. Our heart goes with you guys," and that was it. And she sat there for, she showed emotions and stuff, but that was it 2 years ago.
Both Congresswoman DeGette and Senator Allard refused our request for interviews. And the people who should know about Aban from his hometown don't seem to know anything about him. Have you ever heard of Aban Elias?
No.
No, haven't.
No.
No.
Aban Elias? No, I haven't.
Even many Arab Americans in Denver haven't heard of Aban Elias. Have you ever heard of Aban Elias?
No, I have not.
Have you ever heard his name?
No.
No, not in the media?
No.
The press?
Nope.
At the mosque?
Nope.
No? Not in the Muslim American community?
No, I haven't heard it.
And to know that, someone from Denver, from my own city, is not even talked about, and he has his own issue and huge problem that we should be helping out, is very sad.
We attended an anti-war rally in downtown Denver where we met Ibrahim Kazarouni, an Iraqi-born imam and now a leader in the Colorado Muslim community.
Whether it's right or wrong, the community perceives that it's something to do with the fact that he's Middle Eastern and he's not a Caucasian. The fact that in other cases when there were Caucasians, not only the US or the administration or the military establishment tried their best to find an answer, they kept in communication with the family, informing them of what they were doing. With regard to this case, Mr. Elias's case, nothing.
This last year, it was zero attention.
Rima Barakat, however, does know Aban Elias.
No media.
She was the translator for Aban's wife after his abduction.
Nothing.
Rima says Aban's wife remained in Amman, Jordan, to be closer to Iraq, but she was shocked by the apparent disinterest of the U.S. Embassy there.
She met once with a U.S. official in American embassy in Jordan, and that was it. Actually, she did say there was even her phone calls would not be returned.
Back in the United States, Kazwan hasn't been any more successful with the State Department.
A lady in the State Department was doing that. She used to call once a month, but I haven't heard from her for the past 9 months.
So who is supposed to keep the family informed of the investigation?
The FBI, from the law enforcement aspect, it looks at it much more than just law enforcement. They want to take care of the family, make sure the family is as informed as possible.
The local FBI, I called after a couple of months after Aban's abduction, and they assigned some FBI agent who came to my work then, and he started asking me questions, and I told him what happened to the whole situation. He came a couple of times to my place back a year ago, and that's the last I've heard of him.
He hasn't been calling you?
No.
Keeping you informed?
No.
Letters?
No.
Emails?
No.
Local FBI officials declined to comment.
My son is in Iraq now. He's a captain in the U.S. Army.
Sam Zakum, a Lebanese American, served as ambassador to Bahrain under President Ronald Reagan.
That's the highest road you could drive in a car at.
He lives in Denver, so he reached out to the Elias family after Aban disappeared. Now he questions the U.S. response to Aban's kidnapping.
His wife, and he should be precious in the eyes of every American because we're a nation of immigrants.
If Aban Elias was an American of European descent, do you think his case would have received more attention?
I believe so. I believe his case would have received a little more attention. I'm dismayed. I'm disappointed. As you well stated, very few people, even Arab Americans, know anything about Aban Ilyas.
Why isn't the government once a month calling this family to say, he's still on our radar, we're still looking for him, the case is still open?
Yes, I think the case should be given lots more importance and be put on the front burner rather than be completely neglected.
Do you feel let down by America now, or by the American government?
To tell you the truth, I don't know. I don't know if they can do anything, or it was just a bunch of, which I doubt, because I mean, American government got a lot of power. It's the biggest power in the whole world. I mean, I can't believe that they can't do nothing about Aban.
But U.S. power has provided little comfort to the Ilyas family, leaving Qazwan to cling to another power, the power of hope. How long do you hold out hope that he's still alive?
Josh, forever. I mean, if they tell me right now to go and give my life to get Aban's out, and my family will know that I'm dead and he'll be alive, I'll do that. That's how much. At least my mom will have one dead one and one live one, but he's the oldest. That's how much it hurt my family, and I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to sacrifice myself and my family to get him. If he's alive, that would be the day. That's the best day of my life. It would be of my life, of my family's life. But if he's dead, then it's better than missing, to tell you the truth.
At least with death comes closure, a sad luxury the Ilyas family doesn't have. And as Qazwan is finding out, not knowing may be a fate worse than death.
How long is he going to be missing till? Is it 10 years, 20 years? Are we ever going to know?
Well, it gives me great pleasure to welcome my colleague, Josh Rushing, in the studio. Welcome, Josh.
Yeah,
it's a very disturbing film about a very disturbing subject. What drew you to it?
Well, I was drawn the way any journalist is drawn to a story. There's a tape put out, a kidnapping tape, just like you see in the picture here, but no ransom, no demands, and then no follow-up tape. And so we started calling around to State Department, FBI, people who know about these things, and they said, no, that never happens. There's always either demands, or you see the person get killed on tape, or we find their body at some point. But that's never happened with this one. And so there was kind of a mystery, and I thought maybe we'll track the mystery down.
There's also that scene where you describe how the family found out about Aban's disappearance, which is horrifying.
I was blown away, because I guess I assumed that someone from the State Department called him and said, something's wrong, or maybe the proverbial story you always hear where the government car pulls up in front of the house and someone in uniform
we have some terrible news.
Right.
Yeah.
They found out by flipping the channels, and they saw that videotape just like everyone else did, except they knew him. It was the mother's son and the brother's brother. That's how they found out. I can't imagine the shock of that.
There is one line in the film which really sort of jumped out at me, in which you said that the family doesn't have the luxury in believing he's dead. And I thought that's a strange thing, a very strange word to use, luxury, about. But why did you use it?
Because it tells the story. I mean, that ended up being the story for me, was the perpetual state of not knowing is really a fate worse than death. Because when I think about my loved ones, the worst thing I can imagine is losing them in some horrific way. But I believe there may be a fate even worse than that. And it's this never knowing.
One of the fundamental aspects of this film is, why is it that this man, an American citizen, has not had more attention on his case of being kidnapped in Iraq? Did you come away, you personally, with any answers as to why that is?
Yeah, I did. I think we had a pretty good interview, a guy who was in charge of all hostages in the world for the State Department. He was very informative. I pressed him hard on the question of, is it because he's Arab that we don't care? If he was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed journalist, would the government be doing more? And he was pretty passionate and said, absolutely not. There are a number of people missing. We are doing the same thing for all of them. it's just very, very difficult there. The last clue 2 years ago was that tape. Nothing new has come up on this case since that tape came out. So I did get a sense of the government is doing what it can, although what it can is almost nothing. What the government is failing to do is keep the family informed.
Do you think that, I mean, there is a point in which, from a government's point of view, they say, well, look, we've heard nothing. He has literally just vanished off the face of the earth. We have to just end this file, as it were.
No, the government never does that. At least the American government with an American citizen who's missing, the file will stay open, and it will stay the responsibility of a particular agent or particular team indefinitely.
Well, there was something I was going to ask you about Aban's brother in the film that seemed just not right. He seemed sort of just withdrawn sometimes, even when you were sort of trying to prod him into...
You don't see the worst of that. Kazwan's, his courage was fleeting. He would feel okay about it, and he would give an interview, and then he would get very worried, and he would get very protective of what he was saying. He would end the interview, or sometimes he didn't show up for an interview, or he would show up hours late because he was struggling back and forth. But I had to realize this is a very, very real dilemma for him. Now here's a dilemma he's in. If I don't talk to the press, is everyone just forgetting about his brother? If I talk to the press and I say something that upsets the people who are holding him, be it the government or kidnappers or whoever else, could I actually bring harm to my brother? And he went back and forth on this. It was very, very difficult. I've never dealt with an interview like this where it was so skittish, but I had to understand it was a very real dilemma he was dealing with, you know, and I had to respect that and give him his space and promise I would do the story justice.
I mean, it's a very, very disturbing story, as I say, and let's just hope, for the family's sake, that some news comes through of Aban. Josh, thanks very much. It's a real pleasure talking to you. That's it for now, but join me next time for another edition of Witness.